Hogwarts Legacy, will it have a multiplayer option? Well, WB Games have responded alongside if you can make your character be bald and have a beard, if Hogwarts Legacy will have cross progression, and lastly, about if you can upgrade from the standard edition to the deluxe edition to actually get the additions that are not in the base of the game. So we have lots to dig through, so let's dive into it, and if you can leave a like on this video, it helps a lot, so I'd really appreciate it. But if you get to the end and you didn't like the video, then feel free to turn your like into a dislike. But if you could drop a like right now, it seriously helps a ton. Firstly, there will be no cross save for Hogwarts Legacy or cross progression. In a series of tweets, the WB Games support team said this regarding cross save. You will be able to link your account to both platforms, brackets, note PlayStation 5 and Steam, to obtain the rewards for each game, but the saved data will remain on each platform where it was created. Then, when asked about cross progression as a whole, they said that this isn't currently a supported feature, however that they have passed the interest of it to the game's team. And this seriously made me wonder if, in general, after the game's release, if they'll go ahead and take player feedback and then implement the tweaks that have enough requests ultimately. I really hope so, as that would be a great thing to really keep the player base there in my opinion. Now, can players upgrade from the standard edition to the deluxe edition? Well, WB Games said the following: there are no announced plans to offer an upgrade at this time. However, some DLC such as the Dark Arts packs will actually be purchasable at launch. Also, just a side note, if you didn't already know, you can pre-download this game 72 hours prior to the release date to make sure that you don't have to be downloading the game forever on the actual date of release. So if you didn't know that, you definitely want to go ahead and do so. Now, before we get to the multiplayer stuff, somebody asked WB Games the following: hey guys, with customization in Hogwarts Legacy, can we make our character have a bald head and also have a beard? As someone who went bald rather young, it would be nice. Now, I think it's a genuine question, but they responded with, we can't speak about all of the features that will be available for the game, but be sure to keep an eye on our socials for any news and updates that we share. Now, this is another interesting aspect that I've always said any game that has customization should really take into account, because of course the character that you ultimately design, for the most part, is meant to be sort of like you, right? So I guess how in-depth the options go are going to be dependent on various different factors, but I think having things like that where you can pretty much have an extensive list of options to make the character maybe look like yourself, to make the gameplay really immersive and actually feel like a wizard, would actually be very, very interesting. Now, will this game have multiplayer or at least a co-op option? Now, let's be honest, it would be massive if that was the case, let alone incredibly fun. And well, somebody took that question to WB Games and asked if Hogwarts Legacy is going to have multiplayer in the future and how it would really be cool to play with friends. Now, they responded by saying that this is a single player title and there are no announced plans to support multiplayer. But with that said, be sure to keep an eye out on the official FAQ page for all updates. Now, the reason why it's an important question is because it definitely is very much so something that can be added after the game's release, especially if it turns out, which we already know, a popular game, but once the game's out, if it does deliver on the expectations that people have and the hype, going on the assumption that it's, you know, a very much requested feature and the game remains popular, then it could very well so be a thing, because we've seen it happen so many times before, especially with co-op. So again, I wouldn't get your hopes down entirely, as there's very much so a chance, but pretty much based on demand, that it could be considered in the near future. But if there was a lot of demand but not the player base, then at the same time they probably wouldn't do it. But again, there needs to be a fine balance there. Now, yesterday we had even more awesome news and some very concerning things that the marketing team seem to have intentionally missed, at least we think anyway. So check that video out on screen.